how they're going to match up because new roster. The nice thing about PSG is we do have some consistency. I think the biggest thing is Fruity did come in as a rookie a season ago. He comes back, makes good plays. He's still qualifying for tournaments. They did decent at E-League, not as strong as Farah would have liked, but it's still the same roster, and I think Shawset is playing the best he's ever played since Season 3 when he was considered an MVP. So if Shawset keeps up that playstyle, Fruity keeps applying his support on the offense with either early aggression or passes, they got a good chance.
Extra pressure here on G2?
I'm just glad we don't have to make predictions on this matchup. These guys, these are two hard teams to predict, especially with the new element of Chicago. I'd say yes, there's pressure. I mean, you take the most popular player, the Derek Jeter of Rocket League, and you send him off to somewhere else, and you bring on a new guy. If they lose this, if they're out on day one here, that is not good news for G2. The G2 fans are not going to be happy. I think there's some pressure on G2.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, we don't know a lot about, you know, kind of what went on, or at least I don't, behind the scenes.
I mean, you have conflicting things, too.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to know the actual story of what happened is Rizzo and JNaps knew something had to change, and they started looking for other people, and Kronovi found out the hard way. Like, it wasn't a direct thing. So there was this turmoil, I guess, and he started pursuing. So the fact that they qualify here, but not for DreamHack, this could be very telling.
All right, well, it's G2 versus PSG, and we're going to hand you back over to Achieves and James Bob.
Thank you, guys. We're jumping into the action here. PSG versus G2. This is shaping up to be a little bit of another cross-region rivalry, Achieves.
Yeah, and for good reason, because Richard asked, can PSG take down G2? Yes, because they've done it before, and they've done it twice. Once RLCS Season 6, PSG sent G2 home, obviously different team, but again, PSG beat G2 one more time back in 2018 in January at DreamHack Leipzig. So PSG, a history of being able to beat them.
And I mean, this is the team that prevented them from defending their E-League title. Obviously, because E-League is the top 8 teams, and PSG was the team that sent G2 home in 9th, 10th place. So a lot of history between these two teams, and we're going to make some more here. Game number 1 in this group. G2, as mentioned, qualifying easily. Now that shot saved by Chicago, the roster move. Waypunk said he was the best roster move last year at the end of it. Can he be the best roster move in North America for G2 this time?
Well, talking to Jazzo, I mean, I said, why Chicago? And I said earlier, he said, because he's nuts, which yes, he is, but he also gave an actual answer. And he said, it really feels that Chicago gives them the ability to challenge the ball well in the midfield. So we look for him to be a big force in the possession game, as here he wins the challenge in the midfield. Rizzo not the strongest shot, but either way, finds his way into the net.
Yeah, Rizzo just in the corner here, pinching this ball off the wall. It looks like Fruity accidentally backflipped. Chaussette was trying to get back in time, and he just couldn't. So an unorthodox goal for G2, but G2 fans, they will take whatever goal they can get.
Absolutely.
And we've seen a few weird goals today. One, I'm thinking back to that Metsinaris goal. And now a rebound opportunity saved from Chaussette that looked like another chance for G2 to put one in. They came up short. Now Farah, Fruity. 2 Frenchmen on PSG, Chaussette and Farah, both from France. And then they have the Danish man, Fruity, KBM player, finishing off that roster. And Fruity has such a positive mentality, and he was a surprise roster move that worked out for PSG.
To worked out is to say the least, because to me, Fruity single-handedly got that team as far as it did in RLCA Season 6. Week 1, we were like, no idea what Fruity's going to do, and by the end, we were like, Fruity is the only reason they're here, my goodness. So as far as I'm concerned, Fruity has proven himself to be a very capable player here at the top level of play.
Absolutely. There was a lot of drama back when that happened. When PSG dropped Bluey, everyone was saying, you shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And now look at PSG continuing to compete and win at these highest level international tournaments. But now they find themselves behind 1-0 against G2. Almost 2-0. Still not out of the woods yet. JNaps off the backboard. Chaussette streaking in to hit that off to the side.
Chaussette, as I've said before, reminding me of his old red-eye days where he sat there and had to make save after save after save.
And that is a throwback name. You might have to go check the internet to see that history. Now, Demo, giving us a very difficult perspective there for a moment. But hey, after 3 seconds, we come back and another Demo. And now Chaussette having time to get a dribble going off the ceiling. Fruity mid-flip as we change to him. He's going to try to pass to himself. It did make it through, but Chicago at the midfield was there to challenge. Now JNaps going to chase this one down, using up some boost, but he leaves it for Chicago. Chicago off the wall. And now off the backboard, Chassette taking his time, going for an air dribble. Then a hit off to the side. Rizzo takes over, gets it by a defender. Going for the bump, and the ball passed right out to JNaps, and JNaps cleans it up. 2-0 G2.
That's a tough shot to save anyway, because as the defender, you see JNaps has the entire left side of the net to shoot at, so you have to respect the primary option
and it
of
looked
what's
like,
close.
It looked like Rizzo was in the air in a spot that prevented Fruity from jumping towards that ball.
Yeah.
So Fruity, he couldn't jump, and you know, he just hit the ball right out to JNaps, who was waiting. So pressure from Rizzo, and a shot from JNaps gets an insurance goal here for G2 in the final minute. Now Fruity to Farah in the corner. Farah trying to wrap it around, but JNaps had another idea. Fruity coming in with a challenge off the backboard, and Rizzo pushing it out. Final 30 seconds. Off the backboard. Chance for Farah, met by Chicago, but still Chassette getting denied by Chicago. Chicago's defense too much. And now JNaps just flipping towards the ball, just trying to buy as much time as possible. Final 10 seconds. Attack downfield, Chassette flipping forward. Going for the pass, out to Fruity, and Fruity gets it in. 2 seconds on the clock. PSG will have to make some kickoff magic happen, but they're still in it.
I didn't believe they were going to do it. Turns out JNaps just doesn't have the boost to work with and can't go out and challenge that ball. Has to hope they pop it off the back wall. Doesn't happen. Chassette to Fruity, and like you said, kickoff magic incoming.
So we'll see if they have any plans here. Just trying to cheat. The ball does pop up. Fruity keeps it alive. Chicago just fakes out the PSG players and lets that ball drop down to the ground. G2 getting this game 1 victory over PSG.
And what you did see a lot of, you saw Rizzo a lot in the midfield challenging a lot of plays, which is kind of interesting because I kind of thought, all right, what do I expect out of this team now that they've picked up Chicago, who's been this big offensive force for EG for so long? And, you know, there's a lot of people saying, like, Rizzo needs to be more involved in the offense and he deserves this more aggressive role on G2. And you can think whatever you want. Because, I mean, I don't think it's wrong.
100% goal participation isn't a bad way to start.
I don't think that's wrong, because Rizzo historically in live environments has always stepped up big on the offense. JNaps has always struggled a little bit in the live environment compared to his online performance. And so you think about what you get when you get Chicago. I think you see this team, at least in my head, it just became G2's version of Cloud9. It's like you have Squishy and Gimmick in the form of JNaps and Chicago. You have two guys who are very capable of playing offense, making opportunities happen, scoring the ball, and all Rizzo has to do is slot into the tournament role, play aggressive out of the midfield, clean up anything that happens the other way, and you've got a Cloud9 V2.
I mean, G2's, they're doing them, right? They're doing their own thing.
It's G2's version.
That's just the slant, the G2 interpretation.
Exactly.
So, and
it's like, that's the dynamic I see this team having.
Absolutely. And we're getting into game 2. Chicago right off the bat, 10 seconds in. Off the challenge from JNaps, it pops up in Chicago. This double tap off the corner of the ceiling.
That's quite a way to start.
Quite a way indeed, Chicago. You know, he's a player that no matter what, he's going to step up and perform. It's very rare to ever see him having a bad day. Chicago just so good all the time.
Absolutely.
And one thing about Rizzo that I loved to see last game was him getting involved on the physical side of the game. Just going for those bumps and demos on Fruity that led to a goal. Rizzo, you have to watch out for him coming in for these demos. Now Farah is going to try to take this himself, using up a lot of boost for that, giving up possession to Rizzo. Chassette tapping it downfield. Chicago getting it by Fruity. A little team bump there on accident.
Nice touch.
But still, G2 recovers.
Chicago well aware of the danger there. He saw all of his teammates run into each other in the corner. Knows we need to get something to just throw them off for just a second.
And that's one thing you don't really get to see with Director Cam is how good players are at whipping that camera stick around. using the rear view, trying to see where players are on the field. But Chicago, definitely great field awareness.
Good early pressure from PSG. We haven't really spent too much time over on the blue side of the field so far.
Now Chicago trying to get G2 out of their own half. PSG going on an extended attack. That one off the ceiling, bouncing towards the net, and JNAB's hitting it to safety. And now Rizzo, not the greatest hit from him, but JNAB's helps him out. Now downfield, PSG in their own half. Farah gets full boost. Going for another air dribble off his own backboard instead of opting to hit it to his teammate and conserving that boost. Now Fruity, that was a heads-up play from him. And Farah, long clear. Chicago with full boost, hitting it back.
He was gonna take his time just because he saw all that space in front of him. Maybe let that ball roll back down. I can understand not wanting to take that ball on a dribble with two people right in front of you.
Sometimes you just want to bang it downfield. Now Chassette up the ceiling, Farah downfield into the G2 corner. G2, Rizzo, no boost, hit it up high. Chicago trying to find JNABs on the outlet. A double tap from Chassette, gets bumped as well, but PSG,
they're having no trouble sniffing out anything G2's trying to do. It's G2 clears the ball out to a teammate, PSG is already there. G2 has a chance to clear the ball, and they don't make the touch, or it's just not quite what they wanted. They've tried to go for a couple pinch plays against the sidewall and just hasn't worked. This is just to gain some space and try and regain a foothold on the game.
Yeah, they're trying to get in that space, and I don't know how JNABs predicted that bounce. But going for that double tap, low percentage shot. Chicago with a challenge. JNABs, first touch. He got it by Chassette, but Chassette bumped JNABs out of the play regardless. Now shot from Chicago. And now G2 extending their lead 2-0. PSG starting to run out of time.
There's so much pressure. It was an easy, like 2 minutes of PSG sitting on the G2 side of the field. The problem being, they never really got a shot on target while they were over there the entire time. It was just, all right, let's see if G2 makes a mistake. No, they did not. And then they just pushed down to the other side, and they found a hole, and they scored.
And G2, their defense has been looking pretty tough for PSG to beat. So the time running out. PSG, they need to make something happen right now. And that backward pass is a start, but JNABs clears it out. He's out of boost. Farah getting full boost at half as well. And now a block attempt, but that just sends it flying back off PSG's backboard. Chassette with a little bit of space. Hits it up to Fruity. Fruity tried to tap it back to Chassette.
There we go.
Now Farah. That shot easily blocked by G2. Chassette going for a flip, popping it high, trying to get that ball to Fruity, who was waiting in the midfield. Now Farah up in the air, Chassette. PSG has spent quite a bit of time in G2's half, but they really haven't had that many quality chances.
Yeah, they've just been saying we'll block the clear, and then they get transition goal down to the other side. They miss the touch because they don't have the boost. They overextended just a little bit, and now they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, the counter-attack goal by JNAB. Chassette misreading that one off the backboard. And G2 just locking this game down. Under 30 seconds left on the clock, up by 3, shutting down all of PSG's chances. And even there, that little touch getting Fruity.
It's not anything fancy. It's just make sure you don't lose a challenge terribly on your own half. And it's saying, PSG, you're going to have to try something different if you want to beat us.
Yeah, PSG getting a little... Denied again. A save from Rizzo on the goal line. And that was a what a save moment. And Rizzo's just hitting it back down to the ground. And just like that, G2 up 2-0.
The middle of that game, you think that Rizzo, JNAB's, Chicago, you take away the first 10 seconds of that game and you watch the next 2 minutes, you totally forget that G2 has the lead in that game. Because it's just all PSG chilling on the G2 half, and nothing's happening except
the ball just kept getting trapped in the corner. It kept getting trapped in the corner, and they would go for backboard attempts that G2 would then just hit back into the corner. So domination here from G2. They will go up in the series 2-0. They are our feature match. That was game 2, so you know what happens next is it's time to check in with some of the other matches going down in this round. The beauty of this format is we get to experience group play. We get to have all these teams play one another, but then we also get to go in and check in on some of these other matches. This one,
TSM versus TBD, game 2.
And so this is a lot on the line for TBD, the South American team. If they lose this series, their tournament is over. So a lot on the line.
They need an answer here in the next, 20 seconds. Give them a chance to equalize in game number 2 and see if they can get something going in the next couple of games as Metzenaris fires another one right down the middle.
Now Remco popping that up. Final seconds of the match, or of this game 2 rather. And Noisy getting blocked by iignite. See if Remco can get one more in. And TSM take game number 2. They're up 2-0. Again, this is the tournament life on the line for TBD. We're gonna stay with this match. We are going to watch this next game. We'll see if TSM can close it out and send TBD home.
You gotta wonder, because I mean, TBD, they've put together a couple of good shows versus some teams, but again, at the end of the day, you still gotta come out on top. Obviously, come in disadvantaged, not being able to play with a traditional roster that they are aware of. Like, again, you have to remember, this is a combination of 2 of the best teams in South America, those that were able to travel out here for this event. So obviously not everything optimal in their favor.
It's definitely, they would have loved to come out with their main team.
For sure.
But what we did see is that they did take a game off G2. They are coming out here and competing. Like, this isn't a situation where they're coming out and getting whitewashed. They are in here playing their game, getting goals, getting, in some cases, victories in these games. But TSM, it's a tough hill to climb right now if you're TBD, going up against the most recent E-League champions, newly acquired TSM roster. But TBD, they're still in it. They still have a chance.
As we prepare game number 3, TSM, we already saw them once again. They were our first featured match of the day. They started off versus NRG. They started off with a loss in that one in game number 5. So TSM, the big thing versus NRG was the counterattacks. NRG had a lot of success with that early on in the series. They were able to battle back in games 3 and 4, but it's going to be all about the challenge game, I think, for TBD, because NRG, they had to make a lot of people miss, win a lot of challenges, demo, open up holes, and TBD, you got to wonder if they have that same ability.
Yeah, and scoring early is also going to be big. See if they can get it. And we'll take a look at our updated standings. NRG at the top of the group, 2-0, and then over in Group B, we have Flipside leading the group there, and Vault for TBD, getting their first goal of this game, trying to keep TBD in it.
It's a nice touch, just Remco in a bad spot, can't really get more power on that ball to push it out to the middle, and Metzenaris just, you got to make a guess on where you think it's going, and he just chose wrong.
So TBD, they're back to the wall. They're going to fight with everything they have. They know it's now or never. Metza, a little lob Vault to Firefox. And you know what would be a fun time if we ever had Chrome playing on the same, or on the other side?
No, stop that.
Sorry, no, okay. Bad idea. Vault.
We don't want to give him any ideas.
Firefox now, challenging the play off the backboard. Vault, small touch. Meta trying to race back. iignite coming up to help. Touch there from Firefox. Give Noisy some time. Now iignite racing to it, gets to the ball in time, and a passing play from TSM ties it up.
It's just a clear into space. Unfortunately, Vault misses the follow-up touch, and then the contingency plan a little bit too late.
You could see how long iignite was boosting from that trail of boost.
Oh, man.
He was going full speed for a while.
I mean, Metzenaris launched it at him. He said, go get it, and he really had to go push himself to get there, but at the end of the day, he did. They tied things up at 1-1.
So 1-1. What could be the final game before TBD is officially going home? or at least having their tournament ending. They will have to finish out the groups. Now, Metza veering it up to the side. Remco aiming for the backboard. Good backboard defense by Vault. TSM. We saw how long TSM was able to keep the attack going against NRG. See if they keep an attack going. Yeah, they do. Remco with that pass into the middle finishes it off. TSM take the lead.
Yeah, Boosteniers all caught in the same corner of the pitch here, just gravitating towards that ball. I call it the gravity effect. You just move towards the ball, or you move to where Boost and the ball is, and eventually they all did it at the same time, and there's an open hole on the left-hand side.
Now ball popped up. Ignite, first one to it, had some space. And now Vault air dribbling this downfield, but he's out of boost. The follow-up from Noisy, and Noisy ties it up for the Boosteniers.
Way to go get him, Noisy. Vault, it's a solid air dribble here, forces Metzenaris to go challenge, and Remco bails on it and just says, I know I'm beat, I've made a mistake, and justly punished by Noisy.
I think that's one of those ball cam situations where he was on ball cam, he sees that Vault's out of boost, so he's just circling back, getting ready to boom it, and just didn't see Firefox, or Noisy rather, coming in from the side to blast that one.
Very possible.
So TBD hanging in tight. Firefox off the backboard.
You know, fun fact about Firefox, he was actually in the 2017 League of Rockets World Cup. He played for the Brazilian team. And
they beat Finland. Metzenaris was talking about that.
Yeah.
He remembers that loss very vividly. Metzenaris, the Finnish player. Now off the corner of the ceiling, bouncing down. It's going to hit the same spot, and again bouncing down. And Noisy and Metza go head-to-head. The ball does get cleared away. Now clear. Over to Noisy. Noisy sending it into TSM's corner. Chance for Vault. The shot, a low shot. Metza got the block easily, but got demoed right afterwards.
It's a good try, though. Definitely aiming for the back post, try and beat the defender to the far side. Not a bad idea, just the execution a little bit off, and they might get caught out here just enough. You see the difference. Placement for Remco, just beyond the defender. Placement for Vault, a little short.
Remco's shooting has just continually gotten better as time goes on.
Today it's been perfect.
Yeah, and that one just keeping it low. A hard shot over to the far post. Unblockable, and TSM taking that lead thanks to their captain, Remco. Now Metza over to the side. Ignite. Metza, the shot blocked by Firefox. And now Ignite popping it over towards the backboard. Firefox denying it. Now a corner hit. Ignite a little bit too slow to it. Counterattack opportunity. Firefox gets denied by Remco. But still pressure mounting.
Oh,
out in front of net. Ignite missed it. And the flip by Vault, not enough.
Oh, the
no boost.
It's going to need help.
Keeps control. And now the cleanup. Can they do it? It's still out in front of net. And the Boosteniers.
Just chaos.
They could not finish off that ball. TSM hold on. And we're down to the final minute.
Good pressure here from TBD. They need something. Here's Firefox straight down. It's a lovely pass and off the post. And so close for TBD. That's 2 in a row now.
And now seconds taken away. And Metzenaris.
Oh, no.
The heartbreak goal. Now 4-2 in favor of TSM off that backward pass from Ignite.
Just a little quicker to the second touch. They knew it was coming. They turned around to go challenge him, but Ignite just ahead of it, over the head of 2, and the follow-through snuck in.
Now Remco flipping that up. Firefox over to the side. Metza freestyling a little bit, getting some twirls in. Now Remco, double tap from him, but it's challenged. Metza, a shot towards net. Remco tried to interfere with Firefox. And now Metza again with the challenge at the midfield. Firefox with a miss. Another shot on net. Ignite scoring this one.
They're so close for TBD. The ideas are there. They've made the reads. They've made everything you'd ask for. They're in position. It's just the touch, not quite there in game number 3.
And now TSM just 7 seconds away from closing this series out in a sweep. And with that, as soon as the ball touches, it is over. That's it. TSM 3-0 over the Boost Deniers. Ignite taking off his headset. Remco and Metza doing the same, getting a drink of water, just taking a breather. You know, it's like another day in the office for them.
Yeah, to be fair, I think they were definitely caught a little bit off guard by them, though, because TBD, they put together a couple of solid pushes over on the offensive side of things, and that makes you pause for just a second. You can see it's not like they struggled for chances. Vault had 7 shots.
Yeah, and I mean, they're scoring. Like, South America, this is our first glimpse into the region. And what I'm seeing here, if I'm a neutral observer, looking at this, I'm saying South America has talent that can compete on the international stage.
Absolutely.
Imagine now if they have the opportunity to compete more internationally, and if it's the official rosters that these guys are used to playing, South America can come in and play. So that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, definitely going to be looking good. But when we come back, we will get back to our featured match, PSG versus G2. G2 currently ahead 2-0. The conclusion upcoming. You're not going to want to miss it. You're watching WSOE.
Welcome back. We've got G2 going up against PSG in our featured match. We just saw TSM beat the Boost Deniers, and also we've got a lot of other games going on. Cloud9 currently up 2-1 over Flipside, Dignitas up 2-1 over Chiefs, and obviously the featured match, G2 leading 2-0, and we're getting right back in the action here. This could be it. Game 3, if G2 takes it, they could knock PSG, or at least get a win off of them here.
And PSG in game number 2, despite having no goals in the game, had plenty of offensive chances, so we'll see.
Oh, and that's open. JNEVs had a little more power, could have found it, but the follow-ups, still G2's pressure. JNEV self-pass, center ball. Chicago lets it by because he saw Fruity had the angle covered.
A lot of boost steal from G2.
And now a turn from Chicago, low boost, and the shot is gonna be wide.
0 for 2 now.
But G2, they are swinging right as the game starts. In the first minute, multiple scoring chances. You think they probably should have got one.
At least one, but definitely a strong start to game number 3 regardless. But PSG, they've broken out of the cage a little bit here, and it's actually going to be PSG who scores first. James, we
see G2 come so close to scoring quality goals, and then we see this. Farah.
The top level of quality.
You know, we have seen a few weird goals so far this tournament.
Why not?
Let's add another one on it, sprinkle it on top. PSG fans rejoice as Farah gets that goal off the corner. It looked like Rizzo might have thought Farah was going to come in and try to hit it, but he flipped back past the ball, or whoever that last defender was.
That was PSG's second goal of the series.
So it's not pretty, but it works.
G2 on 5 currently.
Chassette missing that ball in the corner, but he'll just drive backwards, no problem. Wave dash on the ground, try to recover. Fruity in the sideline. JNAPS over to Rizzo. Rizzo off the corner. JNAPS, the shot's going to be weak. Easily blocked by Chassette, which is French for sock.
Yes,
I've been told. His profile picture a sock for a long time.
You've been told, but do we actually know?
I don't speak French, so I do not actually know.
Google speaks French.
That's true, but do you trust Google?
Sure.
Regardless,
they haven't done me wrong yet.
We got a Rocket League game going on at Chiefs. And now Fruity, back pass. A miss here. He does pick up the full boost. Farah off the sidewall. Farah flipping back. Chassette to the midfield where JNAPS was waiting. Farah off the corner of the ceiling. Awkward hit, and Chicago bails G2 out right there. But another follow-up shot off the post.
I feel like we're watching the inverse of game number 2, where G2 over on the other side has a lot of great pressure, generating the chances, not scoring them. And then PSG, they're on G2's half for a little bit, and then something goes into the back of the net.
Yeah, that did happen, but right now they're putting on a pretty decent attack on G2. So they're starting to get their offense going.
Which is a little bit scary, because that was really the only thing holding PSG back earlier.
And that one might sneak in. It does, just inside the post. Farah scoring this one for PSG.
Chicago's touch not far enough forward. JNAPS, I can't tell who's out of position. I know Rizzo was downfield looking for a demo. I think he really expected his team to be able to hold on to that one. Either way, the pass too far behind JNAPS. Farah just comes and snipes it away.
And this happened in the very first series of the day. NRG, they were going up against TSM, got out to that 2-goal lead, then it went to the break. And when TSM came back, they took those games 3 and games 4. NRG pulled it back in game 5, but right now PSG looks like they've recovered after that break opportunity.
Now, to be fair, I mean, G2 started off
a couple of sucker
punches to the face. They just didn't quite land.
So it was an attempted sucker punch.
Yes.
And they whipped.
It's like you went for the 1-inch punch, but you judged the distance wrong.
And you accidentally punched that one part of their forehead that really hurts your hand. So now Fruity going for that drop. Chassette. JNAP's in net waiting for it. JNAP's getting bumped out of the play though. Chicago and JNAP's rather, trying to hustle back for that save. Final minute. JNAP's opting to get that boost in the corner. Rizzo popping it up. Chicago downfield. Rizzo doesn't have the boost to make the play. He's going to retreat. And Chassette takes over. A demo. Now shot from JNAPS. That one blocked. That was a key hit right there. JNAPS in scoring position. And now Farah going for the air dribble. Some players might have gone for a flip reset there, but Farah probably just knew he didn't have time.
was a really aggressive commit from G2. Obviously, you understand why they need a goal here in the final 30 seconds, but a little bit of too much miscommunication, and it all just broke down almost immediately.
And time wasting away. G2 trying to get this last goal, but PSG holding strong. Fruity downfield. And that's going to be it for G2 in Game 3. After a hot start from G2, PSG, after the break, come back and take Game 3.
And it could have been totally different again, because those first 30 seconds, it was bang, 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 bang from G2 towards the PSG net. And PSG, through a combination of solid defense and maybe a little bit of luck from, I believe it was Chicago missing the shots, find their ways to a victory to Game number 3.
Farah, 2 unassisted goals. We saw that first one.
Yeah. And the second one was that steal from Chicago. The pass was too far behind. He just took that one away too.
So Farah, the team captain for PSG, the player where if you talk to Fruity, he's the one, he credits Farah for turning around PSG's season. Farah, great head on his shoulders. I had the opportunity to go eat breakfast with Farah. We had some waffles and hash browns. He doesn't use a lot of syrup. I was very surprised. But Farah, he has got a great head on his shoulders, great mentality. He is a leader. You know, talking to him about the whole Bluey situation back in the day, the way he described it, he wasn't trash talking anyone. He was just saying, we need someone who we want to actively work to get better. We want to approach the game professionally, and Fruity, he's a guy who can do that with us. And Farah, I'm impressed with him as an individual, impressed with the fact that he, in that captain role, helped PSG get off on the right foot since that controversial moment. And now they're trying to get back into the series versus G2, and we're going to peek at these other games going on. Cloud9 and Flipside going the distance to game number 5, so we'll keep you clued in on how that game finishes, whether it's us or the commentators at the desk or the analysts at the desk. Dignitas up 2-1.
And Dignitas just won that series right there.
And that's the overtime game. Overtime winner, Chiefs falling to Dignitas. But let's get back to our featured matchup, PSG versus G2.
So what you expect, G2, you hope they come out with the same level of focus and drive that they had at the start of Game 3, but this time you hope they put the ball in the back of the net. And if you're PSG, say let's pick up right where we left off.
Yeah, it's just set. Going for a pop. Chicago gets a piece of it, but Rizzo had to get up in time, did get there just as Farah did to prevent the shot. We saw G2 dominate. I mean, what, they were destroying PSG in the first 2 games, knocking in, what, 4 goals in the game before break?
Well, 5, but destroying is a strong word, because again, PSG, they had a lot of presence over on the G2 side of the field. G2, that was another big question I had about them with the change to Chicago, because you see, G2 traditionally, when they had Kronovi, they'd get a lead and then they wouldn't take any big risks or anything. They'd sort of let off the gas a little bit and just make sure they didn't mess up on defense. And I'm a little sad to see that maybe still the case with them.
But I think it's a little early to make that call, but it is something certainly to watch, keep your eye on. And now, you know, we're almost 2 minutes into game number 4, still scoreless. The first goal for PSG last game was not the prettiest of goals, but it was enough to get that victory started for them. Farah getting both goals last game unassisted. Now JNaps over to Chicago. Chicago off the backboard. Is Rizzo going to be there? No, Fruity gets to it in time. And now Fruity, a fake. That opened up a shooting lane for Farah, but shut down by G2.
Chicago was really ready to start pushing up the field there and thought better of it, decided to sit in the net for a couple extra seconds, and this has just got PSG stuck in the corner right now.
The PSG have seen that they can strike on the counterattack. Both teams have that ability. Now Fruity getting denied the backboard by Chicago, but it still bounces out dangerously. Chance for Fruity. Rizzo barely nicks the ball there, but it was enough to make sure Fruity couldn't get a clean shot.
Still more pressure from PSG.
On a chance. The shot off the bar of JNaps and then off the post. And so close for PSG.
That's got to be the most annoying thing, because you feel like you've been battering down the door for the past 3 minutes. You finally get one that's not off the back wall or off the post.
Was that JNaps or Rizzo on that save? That was a heck of a save right there.
Couldn't tell either way, but somehow, some way, somebody on G2 keeps it out of the net. Chicago can't replicate the feat. He got the first one, but Fruity's sitting right in front of the ball, tapped it home.
Yeah, it seemed like it was just a matter of time. Chicago had just respawned, so he didn't have a lot of boost. He actually gets the save there and hits it off, but Fruity was blocking the exit, forcing that ball back into the net.
Honestly, that's a well-deserved goal for PSG. You felt like that had to happen sooner or later.
I thought they were going to score before on the one that G2 saved and it hit off the post. So PSG
will not be denied.
They will not. JNaps shooting it on target, but it's right to Chaussette. Might go for another touch, gets the dunk. Now Chicago with an opportunity. JNaps tapping it by Farah. And now Fruity beating JNaps to that ball. Rizzo over to JNaps, but JNaps couldn't make that redirect happen. Fruity thought about it, but decides to leave it. Now Chaussette, ball dangerously bouncing out into the middle.
Oh, man.
Fruity almost reading that. That was very close. Had he gotten that block, that would have put PSG in a great spot on the attack.
Hello, Game 5.
And we still might see a Game 5. PSG poised to take down G2 in Game 4, unless G2 can get a goal here. This one off the backboard, floating down, slight touch. JNap's gonna have to turn on it, bouncing off the ceiling into the middle. Chicago down right to Farah, and Farah gets a clean clear.
And here's what I find interesting. PSG seemingly having no issues keeping the ball over on the G2 half. And you say, what do you get with Chicago? They felt like you get a strong possession player who can get the ball going the other way, and that has been the biggest problem for them versus PSG so far.
They have been struggling indeed, but still within one. Can they tie it up in the final seconds of the game? Rizzo,
nice job.
He does keep it alive, and that gonna hit PSG, take game number 4, just like what we saw earlier today within our GNTSM. G2 now with their back to the wall, all the momentum in favor of PSG. PSG trying to make this reverse sweep happen.
They have a chance, and to be honest, if they keep up the pressure that they've had, I don't see any reason they can't do it, as PSG right there, plenty of pressure throughout the entire game. Not as many shots as I think I would like, but either way, they just boxed G2 in on their own half. You could fast forward to the first 3 minutes of that game, maybe even 4 before you see G2 get on the inside.
And now we have Flipside in an overtime matchup right now. This is against Dignitas, or Cloud9 rather. We're gonna tune into this really quick.
Other world champion.
And again, this is such an important series. Cloud9, Flipside. Flipside with their sub speed, or their fill-in rather. Gimmick off the corner. Gimmick towards net, and Cooks are keeping that out.
Thought maybe Gimmick might have had a little bit of space to either go for a pass or maybe sneak one through the line, but it's definitely going to be a battle in the corners.
That off the post, finishing opportunity, and Squishy finishes it off in overtime for Cloud9. They take it over Flipside.
And it's such a big game, it puts Cloud9 at 2-1 equal with Flipside in the standings, so a huge equalizer for them standings in Group Number B. That is why that game was so important. Flipside close, but just the pressure cracked it.
Man, it all coming down to those final seconds. That's what you love about Rocket League. Entire seasons, months of work can all come down to a single goal. We've seen it before. Here we saw it going the distance, just one goal, you know, to determine that series. Love those overtime Game 5s, final games of the series. So Flipside now tied up, like you said, with Cloud9. And we will take a look at the stats from this game in overtime. We only tuned in for the final seconds of overtime, but we might as well see how these two squads did against one another throughout regulation. It looked like it was a 3-2 victory for Cloud9.
And Flipside as well, when they were playing against that one. I thought they might...
Forget the stats. I was going to say to do that, but we need to get back into the featured match.
Fine.
So now this is Game 5, G2 versus PSG. It has been Game 5 galore so far today. And that shot gonna find its mark. Fruity able to get the go-ahead goal.
So just in the first couple of games, G2 outscores PSG 5-1. In games 3, 4, and currently 5, PSG outscoring G2 4-0.
And this, you know, G2, they were out to that 2-0 lead before the break. Now PSG roaring back. Can PSG close this out, do what TSM could not? Complete the reverse sweep on the featured match. Chicago, a little boost steal there. Good bounce out for G2, but well read by Chassette. Chassette getting another touch. Rizzo will turn, pass to himself off the ceiling, and a miss from Farah. Rizzo respecting him a little too much there. Chicago, over to Rizzo. Rizzo popping it up. Farah, off the side.
You'll take a look at the updated
the updated
standings. Side. This is currently Group A, so a big game for PSG to get their first win in Group A as well. And the updated standings from Group number B, as we saw.
Group number B.
Group number B. Yes.
My favorite number of all these.
Yes, number B. Cloud9 2-1, like you see, tying it up against Flipside. Dignitas currently at 2-0, pending the results of their round 3 match.
Yeah, now that one is definitely a group that we assumed would go that route. But Cloud9 and Flipside going the distance there. You love to see how closely matched these teams are. And now PSG trying to preserve this 1-goal lead. Chicago passing it out. Rizzo leaves it. And now follow-up from Chicago. Farah to the side. Chicago boxing out Farah, but Farah still gets it by Rizzo. Now JNAP's getting dunked on by Fruity. This is very dangerous. A bump right there. Fruity doing work.
And Fruity, again, he's been a huge force for them all season long, and still in this game number 5. G2 gotta find a way out of their own half. It's like, you think, man, the break's been playing havoc on G2. They started off 2-0, but I don't think it did. It's been the same thing since game number 2. PSG camping the G2 side of the field, and G2 just doesn't have an answer.
Well, they'll have to have one right now. They don't have any more lives left in this series. And now, long clear from Chassette.
Ooh, it's dangerous too.
JNAP's popping into himself. Doesn't get the greatest clear. This is dangerous. Farah, that shot high, but now JNAP's racing towards the ball. That could have been very bad for G2. And now nobody home. That went off the post. A little bump attempt from Chicago as well. Chicago in a frenzy, trying to get G2 this goal.
And I don't begrudge Chicago for missing that shot from the sidewall, because that's a tough one to score the pre-jump, and now that's 2 chances right in front of the PSG net.
You called it the pre-jump from JNAP's within inches. And now out to the middle. Punish. A perfect shot from Farah, and that surely has to secure them this Game 5 victory.
And it was such a nice job from Fruity. You saw him not try and push that ball into the corner, just air dribbling it through the midfield, staying right behind it so that if somebody challenges, it's either going to go straight up or kick right into the ground. There's no way for Fruity to lose that ball. And Farah in the right place at the right time, able to put a big insurance goal into the net.
Farah, a massive shot right there. And now Chassette from a distance. G2 crumbling in the final minute. You see Rizzo trying to get a little touch. He just teed up Chassette for a shot across the entire field.
And they pushed. G2 tried to push because you know they have to. And they have no other option right now than to try and force matters. That'll only make it easier. So again, history finds itself repeating.
But JNAP's getting G2 back on the board. Will we see more kickoff plays? G2 absolutely needs them at this point. 34 seconds left, 2 goals behind. It's going to take nothing short of a miracle right now to get them back into this one.
Let's see if they do a fake kickoff. Let's see if they do something crazy.
Well, you know, when you're not really going straight on like that, it's so tough to do a fake kickoff. So a lot of it depends on what kickoff formation you get. And now, G2, time running out. Chassette flipping towards it.
Oh, man.
Saw they're so good at just timing their flips to where it looks like they never even flipped at all, but it allows them to get that extra pressure or extra power on the hit.
Nice challenge. from Fruity there. Just shut that last play down and squash.
And PSG, they were down 0-2. 0-2 before the break. Come back, and they get 3 wins straight. They complete the reverse sweep over G2. That has to feel phenomenal for their squad.